everyone know what quiet quitting um means? I'm pretty sure I know what it means. It was very relaxed and with real-time requests, so it kind of just kept itself alive. Ah, yes. Okay, okay. Real-time request isn't a bad idea. Yes, I know what it means. I've heard people say it's quiet quitting means you basically do just what's in your job description and nothing beyond that. And you get there when your shift starts, and when your shift ends you just leave immediately. You basically just do like I can't say bare minimum. Well, I guess the bare minimum. Yeah, the bare minimum to not get fired. What's in your job description, and that's it. It's pretty much it. If they want you to do extra, they pay you extra. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. That's what was that was what was oh, I can talk, I promise. I can talk. That's what was bothering me so much and burning me out at my previous job that I left, because I had been there for like 8 years or 9 years, and I was still making minimum wage. And then every time, I was like, "Hey, like, so can I have a raise or something here?" Like, they would think of every excuse in the book. Oh, you're not doing enough. Oh, you're making too many mistakes, or blah 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 blah. And so I would just never get the raise. And like, I'm like, well, why am I gonna like what? why why would I do more work before you pay me more? Like, that makes no sense to me. I mean, obviously, as an employer, that makes sense to you because you want to pay me less to do more work. But no, I'm not going to do more work in hopes that you'll give me a raise, because then you'll think of some other excuse to not give me a raise. So, yeah, no, if you want an employee to do more work, you pay them more. The only time I made minimum wage was high school. Yeah, I'm still just $1 over minimum wage. I'm still only $1 over minimum wage. The difference is that I'm at a very much less stressful job, so I don't really care. If I'm gonna be making only $1 over minimum wage, well, I at least don't want to be super stressed out. So, in my experience, oh, sorry, Cybros, I missed your first message. Hold on. I had such a situation today when I've been asked to do more that I have in my contract, and I refuse to do that for free. Good! Screw them! They pay more, or they don't get more. In my experience, when I feel that I need a raise, I go straight to my boss and tell them about this amazing thought. I have an amazing idea. If you want me to do this extra task, you should pay me for it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. At least the job is less stressful. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I literally used to get shit for not doing something that was someone else's job. And like, I would sit there like, bro, this is your job. You're the one being paid. Friggin' she gets paid like almost $30 an hour, and she didn't want to do her own job, and she was giving me shit for not doing it. And I was like, no, no. This is not my job. If you want me to do your job, then I will take the $30 an hour. Thank you very much. Last time I asked, I get a refusal, so I work there until February and quit. I warned them already. Oh. Oh, Cyberos, is that with your current job? Like we talked about last time, I think people are starting to realize their worth more in terms of the work they actually do and the value of what they bring to the table versus what they actually get paid to do. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No extra work should get done unless there is extra pay. It's just, it just makes me mad. Like, because these employers would be nothing without their workers. Like, what are they gonna do? If they had no workers, what would they do? Nothing. With how much my boss has been traveling, I better be getting a decent raise. Yeah, like literally they'll pay themselves an astronomical amount. Meanwhile, they, could still pay themselves less than that astronomical amount, live very nicely, and then pay their employees a bit more than what they're doing. That's why I was mad the other day. To be fair, his family owns the business, though, so not saying he shouldn't enjoy the money, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the employees. Well, like, if you're paying yourself, I'm gonna, like, probably over exaggerate. You're paying yourself, like, $1 million a year. That's a lot of money that if, like, I don't know how to say this. How would you use that much money? Okay? Like, okay, you can live extravagantly like that, but you can also still live extravagantly if you pay yourself $500,000 a year and take that extra $500K that you would normally be paying yourself and spread it as a raise to all of your employees, which will make them happier to be working for you and just, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you own the business and whatever, enjoy the money, but you don't need to pay yourself $1 million a year to live extravagantly. $500K a year would be enough to live extravagantly. We're gonna watch the video. It's called Why Gen Z is Quietly Giving Up.
Let me ask you a question. Do you feel hopeful for the future? I mean, like, when you think about humanity, do you think that tomorrow will be better than today? Well, for some reason, a lot of young people don't. According to the Walton Family Foundation, Gen Z is nearly twice as likely as previous generations of Americans to battle feelings of depression and hopelessness. And even more alarming, they're 3 times more likely to say their challenges are so severe they thought they might be better off dead. And so that...
Yeah, you're gonna get people, you're just lazy, you're not working enough. No, we are working enough, and we are possibly, maybe even working more, and we're just not getting the same reward for it. That's the difference.
That begs the question, why is Gen Z so hopeless? And more importantly, what can we do about it?
Pay us more money.
Well, after doing some research into generational psychology and philosophy, those are the questions I'm going to attempt to answer in this video. And I want to do so in 3 parts. First, the problem, how we got here, and data that shows us what is actually happening. And surprisingly, it's not because Gen Z is more open about their mental health. Next, the causes, 3 reasons why this is happening. And lastly, a possible solution that combines the best of Western philosophy and Eastern wisdom. So buckle up, get ready, and let's address the problem.
All right.
When it comes to generational trends, Dr. Jean Twenge is the go-to expert.
I research generational differences.
She's the author of 7 books and more than 180 scientific publications about generational differences and social psychology. So today, I'll be leaning heavily on her work. That being said though, her work is an iceberg. So if you want to learn more, I've left all of my sources in the description below. Anyways, let's look at some graphs.
And the data coming out around 2012, 2013, there started to be some odd trends. More and more teens saying that they felt lonely, that they felt left out, that they felt like they couldn't do anything right, that they didn't enjoy life. Clinical level depression among 12 to 17-year-olds doubled. self-harm admissions quadrupled. The suicide rate doubled. So we're talking about changes that are very large that happen over a very brief period of time.
Clearly something went wrong with Gen Z, and specifically around 2012. If you look at each of the graphs that I've shown you, you can see that the staggering increases don't start beginning until that year.
So of course that begs the question, why? Why did it happen at this particular time? What was going on in teens' lives that might explain this?
Well, it has to be something massive, like a specific event. Something similar in scope to the Great Depression or the Cold War.
Damn, and they're talking about teenagers, I guess, at this point. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I personally attribute it to, you know, like, we're working so much. Am I a Gen Z? What is Gen Z? Hold on, let me look this up. Gen Z year. Welcome in, new day. Okay, I'm not a Gen Z. What am I? What am I? A millennial? I think I'm a millennial. I am a millennial. Okay. Yeah, 97 at the oldest. Okay. Like, I feel like I attribute it personally to the fact that, yeah, we're working so much and we're not getting the same reward as before, where, you know, we could own our own house and, you know, have a family and have nice things and, you know, just generally not stress about being able to pay bills, being able to pay rent and whatever. Like, life has become more about working than enjoying life. That's what I feel like it has to do with. So let's see what they say here.
All right, what was happening around 2012?
I volunteer. Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez.
Well, there was the 2008 recession.
43%.
Completely wiped out. This could be the most serious recession in decades.
But at that point, the economy was already recovering.
Unemployment was actually going down over this time that teen depression was going up.
And of course, COVID was massive too, but that wouldn't hit us until 8 years later.
And it's hard to think of an event that happened at that time, reverberated across the decade. It was really a mystery to me and everybody else.
So what could it be? Well, there is one generation-defining thing, and you're probably using it right now.
And we are calling it iPhone.
The phone!
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone.
Oh no.
And here it is.
In the year 2012, smartphone ownership in the US crossed a critical threshold of 50%.
Okay.
This was the fastest adoption of any technology in human history, and Dr. Twenge argues that this is the most likely cause behind Gen Z's mental health issues.
It's
like, really? Those damn phones making kids depressed? How dare! Like, I agree that mobile phones opened up that problem we have nowadays where once you clock out of work, you're really not. A lot of people are on call, have their numbers open where, you know, their workers can call them or boss can call them in their off hours, being like, hey, we need you to work extra, or like, hey, can you come cover my shift? Hey, can you do this? Hey, actually, I need you to like, I know it's like your off time right now, but I really need you to do this thing. I'm sick of everything being blamed on phones, video games, TV shows, etc. It isn't wholly technology to blame. No, a lot of it, like I said, a lot of it I think is the fact that the cost of living is so high. We're working and we don't have that same reward. That's what I think. That's what I think the biggest culprit is. And obviously, the phones opened up social media, which is a friggin' battleground of bullying and all that stuff. And seeing people who show the good side of their life. And so then you're sitting there thinking like, oh, wow, this person's like posting all these beautiful pictures, traveling and or this and that. Their life is so much better than mine. Like, it just opens up all of that. So, like, I can agree with that, but I don't think that's the main problem at all. I don't think that's the main problem. But we'll see what else the video says. Not sure that's the case if you ask me. The life has changed so much since XX century. The worldview changed too much. My problem is that I make decent money for my age and I still can't afford a house. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I think the normal drive in most people as you're growing up is, you know, you have that natural instinct to become independent and like have your own independent life where you can support yourself and, you know, travel, go on vacation, have a house, have your own family, be independent. But it's just not really possible for most people these days to do that anymore. So yeah. We all living under one roof. No. No. The worldview, I mean the priorities. Okay. All right. Yeah. Work is prioritized over family and stuff. I think the world view has shifted to where it's just work, and yeah. That's it.
To identify any other big social change that happened around 2011 or 2012 that might be linked to mental health other than smartphones.
And she bases her argument off of 4 pieces of evidence.
Okay.
1, the timing lines up perfectly.
Here's teen depression, smartphone ownership, number of hours per day that teens spend online.
Okay.
Now, of course, correlation isn't causation, but this does help rule out other factors such as the economy, anxiety over school shootings, environmental concerns, the 2016 election. This helps to rule those out. Number 2, it's impacted day-to-day life like crazy.
Teens started spending a lot more time online and a lot less time with each other face-to-face and a lot less time sleeping. And that is a terrible formula for mental health.
3, smartphone ownership affects everyone, whether or not you participate in it.
Social media is social. It doesn't just affect the people who use it, it affects the people who don't use it. Because then if you're not on it, you're left out.
And lastly, number 4, the disproportionate impact on girls.
Meta's internal research found that, especially for teen girls, many of them trace their body image issues to spending a lot of time on Instagram.
And it is particularly toxic for girls. I mean, think about Instagram. Instagram at base is a platform where primarily girls and young women post pictures of themselves and ask other people to comment.
Jesus, you know, brutal.
But I want to go a step further. You see, I believe that smartphones were just the beginning. Their adoption in 2012 was just a catalyst, but it is no longer the persistent cause these days. I believe that it was just a gateway into a whole new reality, a hyper reality, that when compounded with the other factors that I'm going to talk about, feels pretty damn meaningless.
Yeah. Oh my.
Coming to bed, honey?
Excuse me? Who got this series of pictures of me on a daily basis? Who got... I'm being doxxed here. I remember hearing about a popular girl in my high school talk about how she has no time to sleep because between homework, AP classes, after school programs, trying to maintain a social life, etc. What the heck? That is kind of insane to be doing that much. Wow. I'm from the family of military people and teachers, so I got used to work as a freaking horse. But my family prioritizes lowered in comparison with previous generations of my family. I'm millennial too, so I can't speak for Gen Z. Oh, Cybros, I read that wrong. My family priorities lowered in comparison. Okay. Yes. Okay, I got that now because Slasher said that. Yeah, it becomes, it's like less of a priority now to have a family and instead just work. I feel like I'm okay with my cat and dakimakuras. I mean, I might find a person who I'll make a family with, but I don't want to ruin my life with some random person. Yeah, I mean, like, I know some people as well who they don't ever want to be in a relationship. They want to just enjoy their life on their own and do what they want. And I don't see anything wrong with that, as long as you're happy. No, Sin, you have failed. I skimmed it. So as a Gen Z guy, I used to want to have a family when I was younger. Now I'm not sure. I flip-flop between having a wife and kids would be nice to there's no way I can afford to have kids, even in a dual income home. Same. I feel that. As a millennial, I feel that. Even now, I'm still like, yeah, you know, if Jello and I could have had a family, well, I mean, we are a family. If we could have had like a kid or something, like, it would have been cool to have a family with a kid. Frick my life. We are a family, damn it. Like with a kid. But yeah, I don't know. It's honestly just not affordable. Even on 2 incomes, as you said. Which is ridiculous. 2 freaking incomes. 2 full-time incomes and you still can't afford. Like, and then we have people wondering why. Why are they so depressed? Why are they so sad? Well, I don't know, because Karen, we're working, we're both 2 full-time working adults and we can't afford anything. That's why. Oh, and yeah, we have a little battle zone here, so I'm pretty scared to make a family, and especially kids. I'm pretty afraid to let a new life in this world of violence. Yeah, that's fair also, Cybros. That is also very fair.
Yes, dear.
2, the reasons. Beans?
You and I are beans, and for most of human history, we lived in this jar. Now, this jar was made up of core beliefs, or meta-narratives. And while this can definitely restricted our freedom, it also kept us together. And this is known as pre-modernism.
I sure do love hanging out with my good friends. God, community, and truth. You guys are the best. No modernism, you're the best.
Oh, and can I just say another thing I feel that has been absolutely just obliterated is the feeling and sense of community. That is just non-existent now. It doesn't exist. I don't feel like if we had a kid in the neighborhood that we have right now, that my kid could just run out the door and go have fun. I don't feel that anymore. Whereas when I was growing up, I was like, hey, I'm going to the park. And then my mom would be like, okay, have fun. And out the door I went, and yeah. But nowadays I don't know. I feel like that's not really the case. Say what you want about religion, but religion did help hold society together. Yeah, I don't have anything wrong with religion. I'm not religious myself. I don't have anything against it, though. It is, you know, whatever. If it helps you, then that's great. I wanted to have kids, but at this point I'm not sure if it's worth it, considering I'm on disability and, quite frankly, the state of the world and where my country is heading at the moment. Community, unity, fun neighborhood get-togethers? Yeah, what is that? What's that? Frig. Remember, we had barbecues all the time. Friggin' run around the neighborhood, go bike riding. I don't have that sense of community at all anymore. It's sad. It makes me sad.
Best. But the world that we live in today has opened that jar, dumped all the beans out onto a table, and thrown the jar away. Now, without those pesky, restrictive meta-narratives of the past, you're free to be whatever kind of being you want to be. Without religion telling you who to be, you're free to choose whatever spiritual path is true for you. Without traditional gender roles telling you how to behave and who to be, you're free to be whoever you want. This is postmodernism.
Hey guys, what's up? Oh, hey postmodernism!
And it's definitely had its benefits, don't get me wrong. The society that we live in these days is way more diverse, egalitarian, and individualistic. However, there's a big drawback.
Why did you kill God? God's not real, idiot. Use your brain, loser. Why would you kill community? Groupthink is bad, idiot. Think for yourself for a change. All you've done is take from me. You've destroyed the foundation of what's given me purpose and happiness and given me nothing in return. Huh, I guess you're right.
Oh my gosh.
There's a bunch of beans on a table, and while they're definitely free from the jar, they're also separate from one another.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, I get where he's going. It's having too much freedom of choice, I think is where... It's like, so when you go to a restaurant, okay, and you have a menu of like 50 different things that you can order. So then you're sitting there like, oh, shit, well, I want 25 of the things that are on here, but like, holy shit, how am I supposed to choose just one? And then you just like, you're like sitting there forever staring at the menu because you don't know like what you want to pick. Whereas if you go to a restaurant and you have maybe just 10 or less different things to choose from, it's much easier to make a choice. This is why you never ask your girl where she wants to eat. Where would you like to eat, honey? Oh, I don't know. Wherever you want. Okay, let's go get Wendy's. Well, no, I don't want Wendy's. Okay, well, you just said whatever I want. Well, as long as it's not Wendy's. Okay, well, let's go get Subway. Nah, I don't feel like Subway either. No, well, frickin', what do you want then?
They're disconnected. And also, not to mention, it's incredibly messy. I'm gonna have a fun time cleaning this up.
Oh gosh.
You see, we tend to think of freedom as this overriding, unquestionable good thing, but let's also not forget that freedom is also chaos. And too much freedom without any order to contain it can easily lead to a sea of meaningless uncertainty and alienation. And when it comes to freedom, Gen Z is arguably the most free generation in history. We have all of the options in the world when it comes to careers, who to be, what to believe, but this has also led us to being the loneliest.
I'm just so lonely all the time.
And most confused.
So like, what's the point of all of this if you're just gonna fucking go on the ground? There's no point to this, man.
And this is what the philosopher Albert Camus called the absurd. The conflict between the human tendency to seek inherent value and meaning in life and the human inability to find any. Now, as for whether or not we should get back in the jar, I'll talk about that more at the end, but as of right now, without that jar, we're just a bunch of lonely beings.
Yeah, I mean, I can actually kind of agree with that. Like, you know, too much freedom is not a good thing. Everyone likes to think it is, but it kind of isn't. Broken promise.
We live in a society.
We're living in a society!
And in order to keep that society from collapsing into anarchy, we each agree to a set of implicit social contracts, whether or not we're aware of them. For example, money is real and has value. If you steal, then you go to jail. Or for my male audience.
This one's a no-brainer. I'd definitely go all the way to the right. You want to space yourself as much as you can. Here, I'd probably go to the same thing, because anything else and you're kind of too close to people.
And for previous generations, specifically American baby boomers, their overarching social contract...
Hold on, wait. Okay, which one would you guys use? Which one would you guys use in this situation? I mean, probably the same one, right? Because then at least you're one urinal away. And then, okay, so then you come into the washroom and there's one guy here, then there's this guy, and then there's one here at the check mark. Then what do you do? Or you just shit out of luck? You just gotta hold it? All the way to the right. Hold it! Oh my god, Pluto!
To people.
And for previous generations, specifically American baby boomers, their overarching social contract was known as
the American Dream.
And the American Dream promised that if you work hard at a safe job, then you will be able to afford a comfortable life full of consumer goods and white picket fences.
Are you guys at this yet? Any of you living in the American Dream? With your white picket fence? I'm not. I'm not.
And back in those days, the American Dream was true for most white Americans. But times have changed. Is it still true these days? Well, let me tell you the story of the family company, IBM. Once upon a time, IBM was considered, quote, a family company. And in this giant tech utopia, young graduates were hired straight out of college and promised a job for life with generous benefits, healthcare, and secure retirement plans.
According to this handbook, in over 40 years, full-time employees haven't been touched by layoffs. People are a treasured resource and are treated like one.
Not anymore.
However, in the 80s and 90s, the tech landscape began to shift, and IBM fell into turbulent financial waters.
In 1993, the company of 300,000 posted an $8 billion loss.
In order to stay afloat, they had to transform, and so the once unthinkable occurred.
IBM, in practically one swift motion, cut 60,000 employees, the largest layoff in American history.
James Gallo found out it was his turn to go at IBM in Essex Junction after 27 years.
Did they give you any warning that it could be you know what you'd say?
Absolutely not.
It feels like a termination without cause.
This process felt like a betrayal.
Yeah.
And let me tell you,
because they were boasting themselves as like this family company and blah, blah, blah.
This isn't a lone incident. You see, prior to the 70s, massive layoffs like this were considered unthinkable and were considered just poor management. But nowadays,
it's strictly business.
It's nowadays it's just a common occurrence. It's just, oh, yep, just another day. Let 30,000 people go. It's just another Wednesday.
Gen Z knows that companies don't actually care about us. We know this because we grew up watching people in supposedly safe jobs like IBM get laid off at a moment's notice, first in the 2008 recession, and then again in 2020. And furthermore, as we continue to move towards automation and AI, we know that we're going to be inevitably replaced. Now, this isn't because
replaced and not paid. Like, replaced and kind of just left out to dry. And exactly, Pluto. The game industry, exactly.
Are evil. It's simply economics. The system that we're in rewards this kind of short-term transactional behavior. And so in return, employees are more short-term and transactional with their employers. So that's how we end up with things like this.
Right now, the phrase quiet quitting is exploding on social media.
Yeah, I actually don't dream of labor.
I don't want to work. I don't have a dream job. I don't dream of labor.
Looking at these trends, though, I began to wonder, is this just an American phenomenon?
Who actually dreams of working?
There is an undercurrent of dissatisfaction brewing among the young in China. A new phenomenon called bailan, meaning
let it rot.
It was seen as the spiritual successor of an earlier movement known as Tanping or lying flat.
To lie flat.
In order to understand this phenomenon better, I decided to talk to my friend Rachel.
What does Tanping mean?
Tanping, the direct translation for this word means like you're lying down, like you're lying flat. It just simply means like I'm not gonna get myself involved in unnecessary competitions. I'm just gonna do what I'm paid for and not beyond that.
On the broader level, what is it a response to?
In China, the work culture is all about competition. At school, we have examinations, and that's like the standard measurement for everyone to show their abilities. People are going to compete amongst themselves, you know, to see like, who gets the highest score in this test, you know. That's a culture that led to Tangping.
However, more recently, Tangping has given rise to a more extreme form of disengagement. As youth unemployment hit a record high of 20.8% in May 2023, we started to hear whispers of a new phenomenon. So what does bailan mean?
So, bailan means letting it rot, like letting yourself rot. It's kind of similar to Tangping, where it's caused by overcompetition and they want to exclude themselves from unnecessary competitive situations like this.
Now, while Tangping and bailan are different phrases, they both encapsulate a similar attitude.
Just give up. You cannot control anything. Even if you work hard, you may not have a better life and better future.
Yeah, so many people are like, well, if you just work harder and stuff at your job, they'll give you a raise. No, it doesn't really work that way anymore. Like, no, if you work harder, then they'll just take more advantage of you. If they see that you can run 2 machines at the same time, they're not gonna like sit there and be like, huh, damn, this guy's really impressive. He can run 2 machines at the same time. We should pay him extra so that he can run those 2 machines at the same time. No, instead they're gonna be like, oh, he can run 2 machines at the same time. So, let's just not pay him extra, and instead of hiring someone, we'll just have him run 2 machines at the same time. For the same that he's making right now. That's what happens. Parents say keep your mouth shut and just work. They will see you working hard and promote you. Yeah, no. No, instead, what I just said will happen. That's what they'll get.
And so when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, we can see that a significant number of young people around the world are dissatisfied with how we work. They want better, but also feel powerless to change it. Which leads us to reason number 3.
A bigger world.
For most of humanity's history, we lived localized lives. We rarely traveled beyond regional boundaries, if ever past our own village, and so the average person back then likely knew a few hundred people at most. Fast forward to today, and apparently your grandma is friends with over 1,000 people on Facebook.
It's a hot girl summer right now.
The internet has made the world bigger, and as the world gets bigger, competition increases. And as competition increases, only the extremes stand out.
Behind me are the most expensive cars in the world.
Pint-sized painter taking the art world by storm.
The world's youngest billionaire, Mumfa Jr.
Every day, all we see are the best of the best, the worst of the worst, the craziest and most extreme versions of reality. And so it's no wonder why our perception of normal is just completely warped. For some reason, we think that if we're not famous or a millionaire by 25, then we've somehow failed. What? Furthermore, though, the internet reveals an interesting paradox that I've never really thought about before. In her book, Gen Z Explained, Roberta Katz writes, the experience of Gen Zers is often paradoxical, even contradictory. They have more voice than ever before. For example, a meme or a video can reach millions, but they also have a sense of diminished agency in real life. Institutions and political and economic systems seem locked, inaccessible to them, and wrong-headed. Simply put, Gen Z is louder, but has less power. And this is most evident with social media activism.
Your voice matters, whether you're typing it, whether you're speaking it, whether you're reposting it.
We're often told to use our social media platforms to spread awareness.
Use your platform. Use your platform.
Use your platform, however big it is.
And while this has definitely made a positive difference to many worthy causes, it has also exposed us to a constant barrage of problems. Problems that are often way beyond our control.
It killed at least 128 people and injured dozens more.
Probably not good of me, but I really don't look at the news anymore. because it's just all negative. It's just negative, 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 bad, 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 bad. And like I have enough like to worry about in life already. I don't need to open up the news and just see bad everywhere else too. Like I really I just don't. I don't know.
The bombing over Gaza has
potentially devastating war in Ukraine.
22 people are dead.
Oh God. Make it stop.
I'll be honest, when I hear about like a war or a tragedy or environmental disaster happening halfway across the world, I don't know what to do except feel horrible. Like beyond donating and voting, what can I actually do about that?
You can't, because
so I hate to admit
you can't do anything about it because you're not there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? But you can't do anything about it because you're not living there. So, like, the news nowadays are made to feel you, to make you feel fear, not to act. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what to do except just numb myself into not caring, which is goes so counter to who I am as a person.
Well,
I hear about all the bad shit that happens.
It's not really not caring, it's just kind of you care, but you also kind of like have this understanding like you can't physically do anything about it. But you care. Like just because you're, I don't know, not dedicating your life to this problem happening all the way in at the other side of the world doesn't mean you don't care. You just kind of realize you can't do anything about it, so you're gonna continue worrying about your life and the stuff that's going on in your life. It's also the same people who shame main news sources for only posting depressing shit, but all they post is genocide. Oh God. I don't know, I don't look at the news too much anymore. Honestly. I can't. I can't.
Especially right now, this is known as learned helplessness. A state that arises when individuals repeatedly face uncontrollable challenges, leading them to feel powerless and unmotivated to change their circumstances. Good news is, there's a way out of it.
A potential solution.
Okay, first, let me preface this by saying that this is just what works for me. I don't have clinical level depression, and I don't have a sick family member, and so if that's the battle that you're facing, I hope that you get all the support that you need. Otherwise, let's talk philosophy.
Oh, we're gonna talk philosophy. Let's go. Hello, Jet. Welcome in. I appreciate that. Thank you. I try my best. Okay, Pluto. Have a good dinner. Hope you have good nom-noms.
While modern life has definitely amplified the world's craziness, the problems that we face aren't exactly new. When it comes to feeling powerless or finding meaning, the oldest questions often have the oldest answers. So let's go back to 100 CE.
Like, for me, this year was very big on... I stress to no end about everything. Like, everything. And so this year I've made it a big point to start learning to focus on the things that I can control. Because anything that I can't control, it's just that. I can't control it, so why stress about it if you can't control it? So, very big on this year, learning to not stress about things so much that you can't control and focus on the things that you can.
There was once a Greek philosopher named Epictetus, and he had a handbook. And in that book, he wrote, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not."
Literally what I just said. Thank you, Jet. Thank you for subscribing. Much appreciated.
Unless you're the president, you and I have such little control over the external world. We're powerless, we're tiny, and in the face of wars and economic uncertainty, it can all feel so overwhelming and hopeless. And you're absolutely justified to feel that way. However, there are a lot of things that we can control. For example, our physical fitness, our phone usage, how we show up in our relationships, our commitment to growth. All of these are areas where we can take responsibility. And like Sisyphus pushing a boulder up a hill, we can choose to change the things that we can, and in doing so, create meaning. Now, as for the rest, bad things will still happen. Wars will still be waged. The economy is entirely out of your control. Struggle is just an inevitable fact of life, and no amount of focusing on what we can control will make that go away.
Yeah.
However, it stands to reason then that if we have no control over something, then that also means that worrying about it does nothing.
Exactly.
It does nothing except cause us unnecessary, wasted suffering.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. I got it figured out, guys. I am way ahead of them. I figured it all out this year. Yep, don't worry. Do, do, be happy. Do, do. That's why I ignore the news for the most part and just try to enjoy what hobbies I have. Yep. Yep. Exactly. The video's not always right, but in my opinion, I think this is very good advice. Oh, definitely easier said than done. Oh, yeah. I've spent this whole year trying to learn to stress less about things that are out of my control, but, it is still a work in progress. Very much still a work in progress.
Wisdom teaches us to let go of.
Pain is certain, suffering is optional.
Pain is just breaking your leg. That will always hurt. On the other hand, though, suffering is saying, I shouldn't have broken my leg. I'm so stupid for breaking my leg. The world is conspiring against me and everything is going to hell because I broke my leg. Resisting pain, rejecting struggle, and wishing that reality were different, that's what causes suffering. And I'm not saying anything new here. This is like the most ancient of ancient Buddhist wisdom. Desire is a contract that you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Now, this isn't to say that we should deny and suppress how we feel. No, not at all. I think it's about picking up those desires intentionally. Instead of wishing for a million things, maybe pick one thing that's worth suffering over. For example, if it's a fight that gives your life more meaning than it does pain, or is just of personal importance to you, then only you can decide that. At the end of the day, life is totally absurd, and overthinking just makes it worse. So be here now. Or in more Gen Z terms, touch grass.
I'm out here at a lake, y'all. Nature is honestly the thing that really helps me feel grounded, and I think living in a city can be so overwhelming sometimes. So when I'm back out here, it just reminds me to be present. And I hope you guys can share that as well. You and I are sharing this moment across time and space. We are here right now. Life can be so beautiful if we see everything as if for the first time. Again, the way that light reflects off the water, the mountains in the distance, perhaps even the walls of your room. Life can be so beautiful if we're fully here now. Now, I'm not saying that if you just stop thinking about your problems, they're going to magically disappear. Far from it. These issues that we face are real and actually do require our full attention. Still, I believe that our best chance of creating lasting positive change in the world is to first create lasting positive change within ourselves.
Agree.
Now, as for whether or not creating lasting positive change even matters if humanity is doomed in a million years, well, infinite time makes everything meaningless. The fact that something will end is not a case to say that it does not have meaning, because things have meaning while they are here, now. So be here, now.
All right. All right, everyone. Turn off your computer right now. We're going to touch grass. It's 4 a.m. here and 20 centimeters of snow. Oh! Okay, touch snow. We can touch snow then.